Okay, here we go. New recorder. Starting over.
We're starting over?
Yeah, let's just start over.
We just have to start over.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, feels like everybody could do well with a do-over this week.
A start over.
Start over. Start again.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best.
What a week. Yeah.
You were just saying
I was saying.
in the thing that we had to start over last week, you called and
I called Caissie. I was like, I just need a week off. I'm not like, I just don't want to, I needed to just take a break. My kids are on spring break. I just wanted the day. I didn't want to feel pressured by the timeline, the getting it in on time and all that stuff. And I was like, let's just do, you know what? I feel like we'll either do 2 next week or the week after. I mean, I have a feeling we're going to do 2 this week.
Yeah. I think we have to.
Well, I think we have to too. But I also was like, things are like just wild in the world and everything feels really heavy. And I feel like if we just like take this week, the next week, just everything's fresh.
Back to fun stuff.
And no such luck. No such luck for us. First of all, our friend Eric Gurian left me such an annoying voice text today.
Really?
Yeah, that like made it all like I was just like, ugh, I hate the take. Like, and a few people have like said this to me, which is so lame. Like, are you so upset that your like viral moment? Wait, did you say it to me too?
I think I did too. Yeah.
Wait, as I was saying it, I was like, Caissie also said that. Are you upset that your viral moment from the Oscars has been usurped or like has been topped or whatever? And I was like, I mean,
I said it as a joke.
I know.
Because Miss Lupita's face was the first thing I saw when we were watching the Oscars. And to be fully clear, like I wasn't watching the Oscars in real time. So I was just living vicariously through Twitter. And I saw Lupita's face and I was like, oh, there's like a new hilarious
Mix
like
up.
reaction, of someone. And Nicole Kidman is always good for dozens of award show reaction photos that are all in good fun. But then when I sent it to you right away. But then when I saw everything, I was like, oh boy.
well, it's
And I will say that since I have had so much compassion for everyone that is in that grid of Oscar reaction photos past, because I'm sure people have sent that to you a million times, both thinking that it was this year and just being like, look, you're in this hilarious grid of photos.
I mean,
people have sent it to me a million times. So
yeah. No, it's definitely well, listen, no matter whatever happens, like it's like that Moonlight La La Land mix up. It's always like going to be celebrity zeitgeisty like thing.
Yeah.
What happened yesterday at the Academy Awards was a wild journey for all. And you know what I was thinking about? Because I don't want to get into, we can get into everything, but I was thinking about passengers on airplanes.
Yeah.
Post-pandemic.
Yeah.
And how we like had a lot of talks about that.
Yeah. About how people are like, have never flown before, or they're like just so emotional on top of like stressed out.
Yes.
And I truly do think that like something about when they like pressurize the cabin does something to you.
Maybe they also pressurize the Dolby Theater. But I do think because just even before the Will Smith, Chris Rock, Jada Pinkett Smith thing, slap, all of it, I did feel like a slightly unhinged energy.
Yeah.
You weren't watching it.
I wasn't watching it, but I was noticing that a lot of people were saying like, this is chaotic. And a lot of people were enjoying it, but a lot of people were like, that's not great. Like some of these jokes are inappropriate, which, you know.
Sure. I mean, first of all, I have to say, I did think Amy Schumer's like stuff that was really funny. She delivered like some really funny
jokes. And then it was so weird to me because like what I was seeing was some people were like, I laughed so hard at that Amy Schumer run. I'm laughing so hard at Regina and Wanda. And then other people were acting like they were doing jokes in some other language that they didn't understand at all. So that was making me kind of curious because I was like, how can like the consent? It's not even like some people saying like, this was really funny to me and other people being like, it's not for me. Like there were people who were, to use a word that we've been we've been on the other end of, baffled.
Yeah. I was with some younger people, teens watching, and everybody, all the teens were like not okay with the Regina Hall groping thing.
Oh yeah, I get that.
Consensually speaking, like also, I don't love it myself.
Yeah,
it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, it seems like a joke that might have gone by without a lot of notice in years past, but like now, you know, we're not doing that. So I get it.
And yeah, it just, but like energetically, I felt like it was chaos. I did feel chaotic, and so much so that like I wasn't even really watching. I'm over at my friend's house here in Los Angeles. Yes, I'm still in LA, guys. Am I going back to New York? We don't know. No, I am. I have to. I actually have to. Because my children are in school there, and if they weren't, I don't know what would happen. But anyway, it was like kind of making me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so I just was sort of like dipping in and out and like going into the kitchen a lot and like and I walked, like the kids were at their friend's house, which is like a couple blocks away from my friend's house.
Yeah.
My kids, my children, guys.
Yeah.
And so I walked over there to like bring Cricket her money purse. Okay. You know what? Because I had brought her something earlier and she was like, where's my money box? And I was like,
Cricket has a box-shaped purse that has like a money motif printed on it, in case you never saw it. So that's what we're talking about.
It's definitely a statement piece.
It's a statement piece.
It's a giant box.
Yeah.
Purse.
Yeah.
That Cricket carries that is covered with like $100 bills.
Yeah.
$100 bills printed all over this giant like box purse that she keeps, I guess, very important things in, because she was upset that I had not thought to bring it to her. She said, it has all the stuff I need in it.
You know, well, Cricket's been very into Tamagotchi, so I'm guessing, if I had to guess.
Something happened to the Tamagotchi, though.
No.
He's just like floating around on like a little cloud. We don't know what's happening. Oh. Did he die?
I think.
Did he die?
It's been a long time since I had a Tamagotchi.
We were trying to like reset. I don't know. I don't get it.
It's been a long time. But I did tell Cricket that my mom got me a Tamagotchi when I was like in my early 20s. And I kept that thing alive for a really long time. And then I don't know if I should have told Cricket this story. So sorry if I overstepped. But I said one night I went out. I had some drinks with my friends. I got a little bit tipsy. And the next morning I slept in, and when I woke up, R.I.P. Tamagotchi, and I was very scarred by it. So
I mean, that's crazy.
I just wanted to let her know, you know, that's like there's a Tamagotchi circle of life.
I'm gonna be real. She's unfazed.
Okay, good, good.
She's moved on.
Good.
But anyway, so I walked back and forth a couple times during the broadcast too, just because I was feeling sort of unsettled by it. But then here's what's crazy.
What?
I left the kids' house, or the house that the kids are at.
Yeah.
Where they were like hanging with their friends.
Yeah.
To come back over to my friend's house.
Uh-huh.
And I was walking in the street and I heard screams from houses.
Screams.
And then I got multiple phone calls all at one time. And Mark was like, where are you? Where are you? And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, I don't even know if it was real. And I was like, what?
Oh my Lord.
He's like, are you almost back to, Jenny's house? And I was like, I'm almost there. So I walk into Jenny's house. Everybody's like freaking out. But like in the neighborhood, as I was walking back, the moment happened.
Right.
And I could hear like erupting from multiple houses, like screams in the neighborhood.
Like when a sports event is happening that I'm unaware of. And I'm like, why is everyone screaming?
But it was weird. Like I was just so confused. And then I came in and then everyone here was like screaming. They had like, it was insane. And so then they rewound it so that I could see it.
Sure.
And immediately was like, oh, that is 100% real.
You thought it was real right away? Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I mean, yes.
It's interesting. So many people still to this moment, like I saw uncensored, like uncut away footage from other countries.
Oh, right. The
again,
Australia
I was watching, Australia and Japan, I think.
saw that on Twitter, yeah.
So that's what I saw. And I was like, there's no doubt in my mind that this is real. But bless their hearts, so many people to this day are like, this was
less than 24 hours later.
A stunt. And I'm like, how would that make sense to do a stunt like that? I'm not seeing the logic in it, but I'm willing to be walked through it. But anyway, yeah. So I thought it was real right away, but people had their doubts. I know. I'm interested to hear that you felt like the energy was like a little chaotic as like someone that's been to the Oscars. I've only ever been like behind the scenes at the theater. So
I mean, I just feel like a couple things.
Yeah.
I mean, it's difficult. It's difficult to like be able to go back into the world. I'm serious.
Yeah. No,
I think that like we're all not. I think that like collectively, and like obviously there are things that specifically have to do like with the Will Smith, Chris Rock, Jada Pinkett Smith, with everything that happened in the last week with the Supreme Court nomination, which was the vitriol and the attacks toward like an incredibly accomplished Black woman who had to sit there and take it.
Yeah. And act like it was all cool.
And act like it wasn't truly hate speech coming at her thinly veiled.
Right.
As questions by unhinged individuals whose qualifications for sitting across from her are questionable at best.
Right. And then you put it in the context of what other people who have been through the same process, who are not nearly as qualified as her, had to endure.
And how they responded, a.k.a. Brett Kavanaugh screaming about beer.
Right.
A.k.a. Amy Coney Barrett is a fucking idiot. I mean, so there's a piece that obviously like I cannot even begin to speak to because I am a white woman,
right?
A white cisgender white woman,
right?
I said white twice, guys, but you know what?
You're very white.
I'm pretty white, yeah. So that piece of it is a part of like a cultural conversation that like I am very much aware of, like very much see the injustice in the way that Black women are treated publicly in our culture on all levels of being in the public eye.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean,
like
we're talking about like one of the most accomplished Black women in the country, and this was what went on.
Right. And And then so for Jada, you know, to be the punchline of this joke that was like not good. Even like, this is what I'm going to say. I get, and don't you guys, this is a sidebar in the larger conversation, but Caissie, don't you sometimes, because like you and I have like written jokes, I have performed jokes, I have hosted award ceremonies. I'm going to try not. I've hosted awards ceremonies, different award ceremonies. Don't you feel like what is the disconnect? Like, I mean, Chris Rock's arguably like one of the most brilliant comedians of all time. Like, how did he think that was the one? Unless like there is some other fucking bullshit. Cause like somebody brought up that he had made a Jada joke years ago.
In 2016.
Right. So is there some thing between those guys anyway? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like something personal, because like that joke is so not worth making the broadcast.
Right.
And if you're there's a oh my God, ironically, there's a term that people use, beat the joke.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
we can do better than this
which
joke.
means you can do better than that joke. Like, I just can't imagine that you wouldn't look at that fucking joke and be like, oh, we can beat this. We can beat this. Even if like your target is still Jada and Will.
Right. If you want to make a joke about
Red Table. I mean, there's like all kinds of other places to go. And like, the joke was just so mediocre.
Very,
and not even like
I don't even think it rose to the level of mediocre.
Right.
It
I
was
agree
like,
with you. I actually agree. I totally agree with you.
It was a throwaway, and it just wasn't even, aside from all the other things that complicate the issue, it just wasn't even worth saying if there were no complicating factors.
I mean, totally. Obviously. And I don't know. I also am just like, I'm always, there's going to be some like lame, like it's like our friend Paul F. Tompkins, who's a comedian, had some, I'm just going to paraphrase, but some version of a thing where he was like, what the biggest bummer is that like, this is all over like a terrible joke that like Chris Rock came up with like seconds before he walked on stage.
Right.
Like,
right.
I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily true, but it was so, in and of itself, I just was like, why was that even the thing?
Yeah. And I said last night on Facebook, and I'm not calling anyone out, but so many people were like, you have to do an emergency podcast right away, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, here's my stance. There's no emergency here.
No.
We don't need two white ladies telling people the way anyone is supposed to feel about this. This is a time for like me to listen to people. It's time for Busy to listen to people that just like, I'm sorry. It's more complicated than an incident of like that was shocking to you on a live TV show. It's more complicated than that because of the people who are involved, who are Black, who are all Black icons, all three of them, that obviously have various histories between each other, a health history with Jada. Will has been talking about his own struggles lately. And like, it's a very emotionally charged moment. And like, whatever I'm going to say isn't going to be an original take or a fresh take. And like, it's just complicated in a way that I will not understand well because I'm white. So I'm just like, oh. And by the way, I feel like my theory has borne out because every white lady that is blasting out a take, and like a lot of white ladies that I like and that I respect.
Oh, I agree. I'm like, guys,
are just saying
shut the fuck up.
Some really embarrassing and ignorant shit.
I agree.
It's like, I
agree, but like I also think the piece about Judge Jackson and what this past week is not without merit.
Yeah.
And like, I don't, oh God. I don't have a take. Like, I'm not saying I have a take. I just am saying, like, I can just see an entirety of a thing that has less defined lines than just like violence is never the answer.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense. My friend Bill Corbett, who's like, he's a comedian and writer, great playwright and screenwriter. You know him from Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Sure.
He said it was, I think, also I'm paraphrasing, but he was like, I mean, people love to say violence isn't the answer, but like we answer things with violence every day.
Literally every fucking
Literally every day. And by the way, so many people were like, the police should be there and arresting.
I mean, that's the other thing. I was
like, the second this happened, and I'm like, okay, then you just said violence isn't the answer. And we like, you know, police have been known to be violent toward Black men. So maybe, I don't know. I just don't. That's why I'm just like, can everyone just like take a beat? I want everyone to take a beat. And I really do want white people just to like zip it and listen to particularly Black women.
I would
because
agree.
This started with Jada, and there are complicated issues, and I just think it's a shame that Jada is like now caught in the middle of something when she's just like sitting there to support her husband, looking beautiful, and like that's all she did, you know, that's all she did. But there are a couple things that I just want to say. Like, first of all, I am so sorry if anyone saw that and that was like traumatic to them, if it triggered them in any way. But I think we have to be really careful not to project our own trauma onto a situation where that situation isn't the situation that happened to us.
Yes, Caissie.
We can't.
Listen, I want to say, as a person who has trauma or whatever, part of the work, like, of moving through it is realizing like that, you know, yes, of course, some things are hard and triggering and like, but also to be able to go into your experience, separate it out, identify your place in it. And a lot of times you're like, oh, there's no place in it.
Right.
Here's an example. I was at a party pre-pandemic 3 years ago, right? Yes. And there was a guy there who I've known for years, who was a friend, who was super drunk and was really disgusting to me. You know this situation.
Yes. A beloved person.
And he crossed a line.
Yeah.
And it was extremely triggering for me because of my own trauma. And it took me a while of processing it and like moving through it. And I was a fucking mess for a while after it.
Yeah.
It took me right back to being 14 years old.
Yeah.
You know? That was a thing that like happened to me that re-triggered me.
Right.
You know, occasionally I'll watch a thing that has something that feels very similar.
Yeah.
And then I have to like go in and like, okay, am I in danger? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And like, no, I'm not. Okay. So what can I do to make myself feel safe? Okay. Breathe. Okay. Do all these things. Like I have all these things, you know, that I know how to do. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah. It's like, well, I'll get really specific about what bothered me. And that is, and again, I'm failing miserably at my white ladies. Can we shut up about this? So I'm calling myself out for that.
Also, Caissie, though, we have a podcast. Like we are just like, this is, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
we are two white ladies that just like gave ourselves microphones.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Maybe we should just stop.
We should have taken this week off as well.
No, I know, but we have ads and I like the people that advertise on our podcast. I don't want them to get upset at us.
And I love all the listeners.
Oh, yeah. You guys are good too.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, it's really about the advertisers to me. No.
Well, we actually personally know a lot of our advertisers now and love them, and they're our friends too. So
we have we've made a commitment to them, and
yeah,
it's a business arrangement.
Yeah.
And we've made a commitment to you at home. In a different way.
Yeah. It's so all of that being said, and feel free to tell me to shut the fuck up, but also feel free not to and just think, I wish she would shut the fuck up. But the thing that specifically bothered me is that Will Smith said in his acceptance speech, because he did win an Oscar, which again, people were upset about, but I think it's more complicated than ejecting a black man from I think it is.
I don't love that
I
take,
think,
by the way, those people who are like, you should be I don't know, guys.
What I'm saying is
quiet.
an unexpected thing happened and everybody did what they felt was the most best thing in an unexpected moment, and they were doing their best. Agree or disagree, whatever. But in his acceptance speech, in which he was emotional, and some people, a million hot takes on the content of his acceptance speech.
Yes.
Keep in mind, he's the 5th black man, I believe, to win an Oscar in that category. And so
of all time.
Yeah, of all time. So this is, again, it's much more nuanced and complicated than just saying, I think this. But anyway, in his speech, he said he made an apology to the Academy, pointedly did not apologize to Chris Rock.
No.
And he said, love makes you do crazy things. And I saw a number of people say that's what a domestic abuser says. And here's the thing. That may be true in your experience. And I'm not forgiving the violence. I'm not condoning the slap. It wasn't a punch, by the way. It was a slap. So if you can't stop talking about it, at least be specific, because words mean things. It was a slap. He said this phrase that really seemed to trigger a lot of people, saying that's what my abuser said. And I have so much love for anyone that was triggered by that. But to then turn around and equate that to Will Smith basically being, in your opinion, and putting it out there that he's committing domestic violence, that is not what happened at all. Well, that is not what happened at all. He didn't put his hands on his wife.
No.
So it's just, when I say we have to be really careful not to project our trauma onto other situations that are not our situations.
Right.
That's not what happened that night. And it's not for you to diagnose Will Smith as something or to suspect anything. That's for someone else to say. And so that really bugged me, because that is damaging in a way, because that's the kind of thing that people just run with. You know what I mean? That's, how many times have you ever, there's so many examples of people have just run with an idea about someone, and especially celebrities, where they're like, oh, I heard that celebrity likes to murder cats and drink their blood. And you're like, yeah, I mean, that was in a tabloid, but obviously that wasn't true. And but people will just think that kind of thing for years. And I just think you have to be extremely careful not to make that leap that because this happened in my life, I can say with authority, this is what's happening.
Right. Wait. That's really important, what you just said. Just because you had an experience in your life does not make you an expert on anyone else's.
Right.
And their motivations or their behaviors You've no fucking idea.
Right. And so I just kind of feel like, you know, from the Academy being like, we don't condone violence.
Right.
You've seen all the takes. Obviously, they do condone violence. Mel Gibson was recently nominated for an Academy Award. And also Roman Polanski. And Harvey Weinstein has 1 million Academy Awards,
I do
think?
feel like they might have taken his back.
Did they? Okay, great.
I actually am we could look it up. I feel like I remember that they like kicked him out of. They definitely kicked him out of the Academy.
It's possible, but then you get into like parsing, like, well, did people know when he got them in the first place?
Of course they did.
You know, Woody Allen has Academy Awards.
Oh yeah, did they take back his?
I don't know. No, they didn't take back Woody.
I'm just saying.
But also, like, I read something, I didn't even know about this because I was probably an infant. And so that means you probably weren't even born. But like when Sacheen Littlefeather got up at the Academy Awards years ago to ask Hollywood to stop portraying Native Americans in the way that they were being portrayed, I read that that John Wayne had to be held back by people. Like, what was John Wayne planning to do? You know? So I don't know. I don't know if that's true. Again, I wasn't there. I didn't see any footage of John Wayne struggling against people holding him back. But I'm just saying, like, and like my friend Bill said, well, obviously, like, many of us condone violence when we feel like it's in our best interest. It's just, you know, when we don't like who's doling it out, I guess. So anyway, I just feel like Chris Rock didn't press charges. That's it. Like, it's like a thing that happens at your family, like during a high pressure Thanksgiving dinner. Who hasn't had like a moment that they wish went differently, you know? And this one just happened to be on TV in front of the entire world, which is why it's being like dissected, resected, put together, run in reverse. But it's just was a high pressure situation. But those are regular people who became like super famous, and you know, but like to me, Chris Rock not pressing charges, like that's it. Like they can handle it.
I mean, I'm kind of with you. It's really well, anyway. Shall we move on?
Yeah, I mean, I hope. Who knows? Like by the time this podcast comes out, like maybe people will be so done talking about it. Do you think that's the case?
I don't know what's going to happen in the next minute and a half. So I like for sure can't say.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say, and like, I do want to say this because, again, like I'm like, white ladies should shut up about this and listen to black women. And then I talked about it for fucking 20 minutes or whatever. Here's what I want to say. Now is a good time to, if you're on social media, which I assume you are because you just probably are, find some black women who are, if you're interested in this, and like you can't stop thinking about it, find some black women who are talking about it and talking from their perspective of how complicated their relationship with their hair is, and black women that are talking about misogynoir, and you know, and that's a word that I learned that was very enlightening for me. And, you know, just listen to what they're saying. That's all you have to do.
What does misogynoir mean?
Misogynoir means the way that black women are treated. Basically, it's like black misogyny based on, you know, and we know, and Chris Rock knows because he produced a documentary about the difficulties that black women experience because of the way that they're told that their hair is unacceptable. And so, you know, so this is a concept that he's not unfamiliar with. So just, it's a good time to like listen to people and don't feel like you have to say anything. You know, you can just listen and learn. And here's the other thing, because I've seen a lot of this too, and I have certainly been guilty of it in the past. When I'm saying like, just listen to people who are closer to the experience than you are and who might have something to say that you could learn from and don't feel like you have to weigh in on it. Black women are not a monolith. So obviously, depending on who you listen to, Black women are going to have different takes on this. And it's okay to just take in all those takes and, and just take them all in and listen to them, because they're going to cover all of the ranges of emotion that you could imagine. But what is kind of gross is don't just hunt around for someone who agrees with you and then use that person's agreement to try to then make your point. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people I know sent me, like, they kind of cherry picked.
Of course.
Like, this is what this person's saying, and they're mad at so-and-so for this, and that agrees with me. I'm just saying, just like, take it all in. Because, like, here's the thing. No matter what you say or I say or anyone says, it's not gonna really further the discourse or fix anything.
No.
So, like, me being mad at whoever it's just not productive. But I just feel bummed out for everyone, because this is something that everyone's just going to have to sort out, and it'll probably take a while and be weird. And I felt bad for Jada, because, she's just trying to sit there and be gorgeous.
I mean, she succeeded.
She did.
She definitely succeeded in that.
And I felt bad for people whose awards came after, because it was Questlove won for his amazing documentary.
Yeah. I loved that he won. That's amazing.
Yeah. And so a lot of great things happened at the Oscars. And so it's a little bit of a bummer that this is the only thing anyone's talking about, because...
Well, Coda. I mean, it's like such an incredible moment for deaf Americans and people with...
Yeah,
I mean, like...
with hearing loss. And
I don't know. I mean, I haven't watched the movie, guys.
Deaf actors, and also, like, only the second... deaf actor who's won an Oscar.
I know, that was really neat. Did you watch that movie?
I haven't seen that movie. I have a screener of it, but I do. I didn't like. See, here's how I know, because usually every year I devour those like award season screeners that come in. Hollywood Break. If you belong to like the Writers Guild or the Screen Actors Guild or the Television Academy or anything, you get screeners of all of the potentially award-winning films. And usually I tear through those. And this year, I think I only watched Being, like, half of Being the Ricardos. And I was like, oh, I can't take it.
I mean, I couldn't take just the little clips I saw on the Oscars telecast last night. I was just saying to Caissie that I think I'm going to do Sakara when I get back to New York.
Yeah,
I'm going to have it delivered because I love it.
Yeah.
It tastes delicious. I'm inspired by two of my friends here in Los Angeles who've been recently veganized. I like to feel good.
Who doesn't?
I mean, sometimes if you're like in like a spiral of feeling bad, like sometimes you just want to keep feeling bad. But I want to eat things that are ready to eat for me.
Yes.
That I don't have to think about.
Yes.
But that it's like functional, wellness, nourishing my body, making me feel good, delicious.
Well, good news, because Sakara is a wellness company anchored in food as medicine on a mission to nourish your body through the power of plants.
And nourish your body through the power of plants. It does. I've done it so many times. I love it so much. I like go back and forth. Like I will do some days of Sakara. I'll do some weeks of Sakara. And I just really like it because it makes me feel good, but it's also like delicious. I never feel like I'm depriving myself. It's a lot of food. It's not like you're like on a diet, you know, like
Right.
it's healthy plant-based ingredients, boosts my energy and is good for my digestion. I've had bad digestion the last couple days since I've been here.
Yeah.
And just stress and stuff. Travel too. And like
Yeah.
sugar cravings and all that stuff. Guys, I am into it. Sakara's received rave reviews from Goop, Vogue, New York Times, and Me Busy Phillips. Honestly, I'm going to do it. I'll let you guys know. Like, the delivery program makes it easy for me because it can just show up at my doorstep.
Yeah. That's
I don't have to think about it.
the best.
So if you want to join me, feel free. Right now, Sakara is offering our listeners 20% off their first order when you go to sakara.com/busy or enter code busy at checkout. That's Sakara, SAKARA.com/busy and get 20% off your first order. Sakara.com/busy. Ooh, ginger it up. You know how much we love ginger. Ginger, that's ginger with 2 J's. Ginger oil.
Yes.
We love it. It's an all-natural, high-quality essential oil that has so many good benefits. We both have been loving the rejuvenating self-care kit. It's the best way to pamper yourself at home, guys.
It's so good. It's so cute.
It's a little cute, little beautiful pouch, and it includes a bottle of our favorite ginger essential oil. Plus, you get some tools. I like the little gua sha stone.
Yeah, it feels so good to like rub on your face. I love the little diffuser that you can use to, you know, I love anything that's diffusing into my house, making it smell delicious. And ginger oil does smell delicious.
It really makes me feel great. It like comes pre-mixed with carrier oils. I put it directly on my knees, on my skin, on my elbows. I didn't even tell you this story, but oh my God, I can't believe I didn't. Well, I'll tell it soon.
Later.
I literally like fell out of the shower at the rental house. It was
Oh, no.
a disaster. It was bad. But thank God for my ginger oil because I literally slathered that stuff right on my elbow and I feel a lot better. Ginger uses a special extraction process that produces a very high quality ginger oil, and it comes with a convenient dropper cap so you don't make any spills or messes. It's not all over the place. It just stays right there in that bottle till you use it.
I appreciate that.
I do too. We want you to focus on self-care too with ginger essential oil, and check out the rejuvenating self-care kit. Right now we have an amazing deal just for our listeners, 20% off your first purchase, but it's only available at our special URL, ginger.us/best. That's GINJER.us/best. Don't miss out. Again, that's ginger with 2 J's .us/best. I saw Encanto.
I saw Encanto.
Mitchell's versus the Machines,
Sensing a theme.
and Luca.
Okay.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think of all the movies, I think that might be it.
Yeah.
What other movies were there? I didn't see Coda yet. I know everybody loves it.
Year of the Dog.
Didn't see that.
Didn't see.
Didn't see.
West Side Story.
Nope.
Dune.
Nope.
Tick, Tick, Boom.
Yes.
I saw Tick, Tick, Boom.
Because my children wanted to watch it. Guys,
Yeah. Also, Andrew
if you are
Garfield
sensing-
is irresistible to me, I feel like.
What?
I think like he is just so
I'm surprised by that.
great. I just like him so much as a person that I think I'll watch him in whatever, you know?
That's wild to me.
Yeah. I think he's like, I'm like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
sure,
I'll
sure.
watch something terrible if it has like great costumes and scenery.
Uh-huh.
I'll also watch something that wouldn't hold any interest for me other than I really, really like the person in it as a person.
Uh-huh.
And I don't even have to like necessarily like their acting, but I happen to think he's a good actor as well.
Yeah. Well, I saw it because my kids wanted to watch it. And so now I realize that every movie that I saw was basically just because my kids wanted to
Was
watch it.
dictated by your children.
For real. Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
But you, I mean, You like movies, but you don't like to necessarily be stressed out by movies.
I will not
either.
be stressed out by movies. Life's too short. Also, I have pretty much emphatically disliked movie theaters long before COVID was even a thing. I don't like movie theaters. I don't talk about feeling safe. I don't feel safe in movie theaters ever.
Yeah.
Like I am very uncomfortable sitting since I was in my 20s, in my early 20s. Like the idea of sitting in like a darkened room with a ton of people I don't know. I have no idea who they are, what they're doing, why they're there. I know this seems wild, but like I get really fucking creeped out. You know, even at concerts sometimes, like, did I ever tell you about that concert that Kelly Oxford and I went to years ago where I think we got a little too high, maybe? And then all of a sudden I was looking around. It was at the Greek Theater and I was just like, how many men here have raped someone? Like, how many fucking men here have raped someone? And then I couldn't like get the thought out of my head.
Right.
And then I was like, oh my God, how many people here have murdered someone? And then I was
because of like statistics.
Statistically speaking,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, whatever. And then I just like went down this like whole rabbit hole. And sometimes in like big crowds, I really like can't get that out of my head.
Yeah.
So it's not conducive to like enjoying cinema.
No, yeah. The weirdest experience I think that I where I first ever had that same feeling is I went to see There's Something About Mary in Manhattan.
Sure.
And the theater was sold out and I was with Matt, who was my boyfriend at the time. But on my other side was just this random guy. And There's Something About Mary. Everybody laughed very hard. But that guy was laughing so hard next to me that I was like half enjoying it, but half like a little disturbed because of how hard he was laughing. And then at one point he smacked me on the leg because of how hard he was laughing. And I was like, oh yeah, that guy could just like reach over and like choke me or whatever. Or like,
here's the thing too. Like, I think that you and I are both witches, obviously, but I mean, we are, but also beyond that, like, and I've been told this by many people. I actually got a massage a few days ago, finally, after many moons of not having a massage.
Oh, good.
And she was like, you know, I do a little Reiki work too, or whatever. And she was like, oh God, you just take on everyone's energy that you come in contact with. And I'm like, I'm not great about shielding myself. Like, I need to like be better about protecting like the energy that comes in at me from people around me, because I really take it on, you know? Like, and so I think that big crowds of people sometimes can feel really overwhelming to me in that way, because like I'm just taking it in and like soaking up the vibes or whatever.
Yeah. I'm like that as well.
You are, right? So like it can be, so that can feel, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good at all. And like that coupled with the fact that like there have been really horrible acts of violence in movie theaters. I'm personally friends with someone who had like a guy in like literally a very nice movie theater jack off like onto her basically.
Ew.
Oh, horrifying.
Yeah.
Like, so all of those things combined, like,
I mean,
immediately take me out of movie theater. Like,
yes.
I can't, I just
assume a movie theater that you're in has been jacked off in. That's
for sure
enough.
That's enough. I'm not there for that.
Yeah.
You know what I do? You know what I do enjoy? I will say I've had like, I was invited at, remember my Liz Banks story about how Bertie didn't know that Elizabeth Banks was an actor?
Yes.
Well, she invited a bunch of her friends with like teens or whatever when she had directed Charlie's Angels before the premiere, like before it was coming. I think they were, I don't know if it was the final cut or it was her cut or something, but she invited a bunch of us who were friends with her to like one of those like private screening room theater places. Yeah. I don't know what those are called. They're called something.
Screening room.
No, they're like iPics.
Oh, okay.
iPics?
I don't know.
They're really small theaters. Like, and they're so expensive. It's like prohibitively expensive, basically.
Okay.
Although I feel like movie theaters are prohibitively expensive anyway. And so but you can like rent out the whole thing. You
Okay.
know, they have like different sized ones.
Okay.
Or you can go to one where there's going to be strangers there, but it's like not that many.
Yeah.
And you're very separate from them. Like everybody's in their own little like
Okay.
couches or recliners or something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That I feel like at this point in my life, I could deal with. Like I
Yeah.
can deal with that kind of vibe. But yeah, like a giant movie theater freak just freaks me the fuck out.
It's so weird. I wasn't freaked out by this, but I did go to, my younger son loves superhero movies. He's like a real Marvel fan. He will attend a DC movie. And so like that's been a thing that my family has enjoyed. And my older son was like a Star Wars guy. So we would go to like a late night showing of one of those things all together, like an event thing, which is scary because of like things that have happened in the past. But also like I never wanted to take that away from them. But I remember one of the last times that I really went to do one of those things, we went to a super fancy movie theater with like the reclining seats and everything. We went to see the first Wonder Woman movie. And like my son was like, we have to, like, first showing, we can go see it at midnight. Let's go. And it was sold out. But what really like ruined it for me is that like nobody would sit down. Like okay, I could be totally reading into this, but I don't think that I was. I think a bunch of people were like, it's a superhero movie. I always buy the ticket to see the first screening. I'm going to be there. Then everybody got there, and that audience is largely men, but they couldn't sit down and watch a movie about a woman superhero. So they all just like walked around talking, looking at their phones.
What?
Yeah. And I was like, I have never seen this happen in a movie before.
Wait, that's really weird.
It was in Norwalk, Connecticut. And I was just like, they're all so uncomfortable with what is happening that they're like getting up to go get 6 popcorns, 7 sodas, go to the bathroom. It was like I was trying to watch a movie across a shopping mall, and just like all the normal activity of a shopping mall was going on. And I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Well, that's really bizarre.
It was so weird. But that's the last time I was like, well, I'm not going to pay like $100 between me and all my family to go watch wieners walk around.
Yeah, that's so lame. I mean, like, I don't remember the last movie I went to.
The last movie.
I don't remember. I mean,
you went to one in Arizona, right?
Right, but in a private screening room.
Oh, okay. Yep. Because it was COVID and yeah.
Yeah, and they offered oh my God. I'm not having an
Your
easy
brain's
time.
not all right.
You know what I mean? Like, is anyone's? But this is my point. Again, I'm circling back to the Oscars. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. But I feel like we're all trying to like move through the world like business as usual. And it's nothing like usual.
No.
Everything is fundamentally shifted and changed.
Yes.
And like, so I guess for me, even just like, I guess even like all of the people like sending me texts and whatever about the Moonlight La La Land mix up, I'm like, guys, that was a different timeline.
Yeah.
That existed in a time that no longer is relevant.
Right.
We're not
there.
We're not there.
Where that's the wildest thing.
We're not there.
Yeah.
And like, I just almost, there was a part of me that felt like, and I'm not speaking to like any of the other complexities, obviously, that we've already gone through, that like about the slap situation. But I almost was like, I didn't want to watch it, or I kept like moving in and out of it. And I felt like the energy was so chaotic because I feel like on a certain level, even though everybody was like, oh, this is so great. We're back. We're back.
Right.
Everyone was like, this is so fucked up. Like, what are we doing?
Right.
Why are we here?
Right.
Why are we doing this again? And what does it mean? And like, and what place does it have? And like, and I'm not a person who's like, awards are bullshit. Like, I think awards are nice for people to feel seen by their peers. I truly do. But I just mean the pomp and circumstance of the thing, the hosts coming out and doing bits and jokes and skits and things. Like, it all to me felt like absurd theater.
Right.
Like, truly, what in God's name does any of this have to do with the world that we're currently faced with?
Right. It's like there's a huge disconnect.
It's a disconnect. And it's like some of the films, while your girl hasn't seen them, I'm sure speak to like the human experience, because that's what fucking art does, right? Like, at its best, like, that's what we go to. That's why we love movies, right? That's why superhero movies are so huge right now, because people are, you know, on whatever level, they can't fucking handle the state of the United States or the world. And so they're looking at these allegorical tales of like good versus evil. It's fucking Jesus. It's whatever it is. But that's what Marvel is for the majority of Americans, right? Is like the escapism of like good is going to win because a superhero is going to come in and make sure that like the bad guys don't win, and you know, the people stop getting treated like shit and starving and their homes being burned and not having drinking water and all their rights being taken away, whatever. But that's like the thing, right? And then reaffirming our humanity with something like Coda, where it's like just like a human expression that you can connect to on all different levels, right? Like that's the whole point. That's the whole point of art. And so fine, like I think it's, again, I have no fucking issues with people wanting to get a little statue because like their peers are like, you actually, this was pretty phenomenal, you know, like.
Yeah, you did great at your job.
But the whole thing, all of it, feels so fucking out of whack with what everyone is currently going through, that it's like all the money that was spent, all the time, all the like diamonds that were
the gift bags and the
gift bags and the fucking services and the things and the this and the that and the meals and the waste of food and the energy and the this and the fucking NFTs that someone's gonna make out of whatever. like all of it is just like, it doesn't get bought back with like a heartfelt plea for rights.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I actually don't fucking need Jessica Chastain to draw the line between Tammy Faye's, you know, activism and her later life and, you know, standing up for the LGBTQIA community and her standing up there and saying like, there's a real attack on LGBTQIA and transgender people in this country right now. Like, it doesn't do fucking shit.
Right. Right.
Take your dress off and sell it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and donate the money to abortion funds.
Right.
Like, don't throw this fucking thing.
Right.
Like, it's stupid.
Yeah.
Smelt that Oscar down, Sean Penn.
That was, yeah. I wonder if he did smell his
I don't think he did. But, you know, I also kept saying to my friend when I was talking about it, he's going to smite his Oscar. And then he was like, wait, what do you, I don't think you can.
Smelting it is maybe a version of smiting it.
I think smelting it and smiting it is the same thing. And I'm not trying to be like, I know that we want to still be able to have fun in the world or whatever, or celebrate things, I guess. But I guess to me, the idea of like continuing Hollywood business as usual is just felt so obscene to me.
I can understand. Well, you know what? I think what you're saying is interesting. And I think what it is that we're all incredibly fragile.
Yes.
We're all incredibly fragile in different ways. And so for you, there's like a disconnect. There's like a cognitive dissonance about this big lavish.
I'm whatever, fine that they did it. Like, but like Amy and Wanda and Regina being like, gay. Like, guys, I'm not even like, I am like, I can't. That's not going to it's not doing anything. And these are real people.
Right. Because it's not a joke to you.
It shouldn't be a fucking joke to anyone at this point.
Right.
We're past it is all I'm saying.
Right.
And it's like, and enough with these like fucking comedians and they're like, like, guys, it's done. It's over. We're like
Right.
in a post comedy world. I'm sorry.
But then it's interesting, right? Because Wanda's gay, you know? Here's what I'm saying. We're all fragile in different ways. And I think you have a really unique perspective on it because this is a place where you've been like in better times. Like you've been at the Oscars. So you know everything that like it goes into it and how like lavish it is. And, you know, but that's what's really interesting about the whole thing to me is that we are all fragile and feeling like any one of us could snap at any moment.
That's what I'm saying
over
too.
anything.
Right. And so like,
and to act like everything is.
Yes. And so cultural conversation aside.
Yeah.
Which we have no fucking part of.
Right.
I can't even begin to tell you how I'm like, I'm actually surprised that like more people didn't get up and like scream
or do something
and rip their literally like
wild,
rip
like,
their dress off.
Well, there were so many hanging out tits last night on the red. That's what I felt was unhinged about the red carpet. I've never seen more tits about to make a break for it. I was just like, this is everybody, like everybody's going for it in like this way that is a little more than I have seen in the past.
But
like
this is what I'm saying. Like no one knows. I think about the author Sheila Heti.
Yeah.
She has a book called How Should a Person Be?
Oh, okay.
It's a book of essays.
Yeah.
But I think about that title a lot. How should a person be? And like it's tricky, right? Because it's amorphous. Like it's like a person needs to be able to be different things in different situations to different people, to different things. And I just feel like none of us, I don't feel personally. I'm just going to speak for myself. I feel like I don't know how to be a person anymore.
You don't know. Yeah.
I don't know how to be. Like, a friend of mine called me this morning and he was like, my sister wants to know if everything's okay with you because you haven't posted on Instagram in like almost a week or something like that. And I was like, I haven't? And he's like, yeah, I don't know. And then I realized like, yeah, I guess I did 3 days ago. I posted a photo of Birdie at the Olivia Rodrigo premiere, which I really wanted to talk about.
Aww. Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I have no stories, I guess, up. I don't know when I did stories last. And then before that, like I hadn't posted in a couple days. And then before that, I hadn't posted in many days. Like I don't know how to use social media anymore. I don't know how to like.
But you do. That's the thing. I think what you're bumping into, and this is like, I'm not calling out anyone or whatever. I think what you're bumping into is like a thing where people feel like they know you based on your past behaviors. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And like a number of people ask me about you all the time based on what you do or don't do on social media. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, well, first of all, like, whatever is on there is what she wants you to know. And I'm not going to tell you anything different than what's on there.
Right.
Also, like, she did explain where she was. She said on her social media, as well as like the podcast social media, it's spring break. We're taking a week off.
Right.
So like anyone could extrapolate from that. Well, it's spring break. She's doing stuff with her kids because it's spring break. And so then when people continue to press on that, then I'm like, okay, well, are you really concerned about her, or are you hoping to get like some goss? You know what I mean? And like that, and then it's a weird thing because you feel like, well, am I supposed to be like performing for people? This was just a thing that was like started as a creative outlet and like a way to like connect with people.
Yes.
But then there get to be like certain expectations on it, and it starts to get like, you know, weird. It gets like a little weird. And then it makes it less fun to go and do it. And then that's a shame because then you're avoiding using social media when there are people that are still fun and fine there who aren't making it weird. If you have any trepidation of like how to be, or like what you're supposed to be doing, or what you're supposed to be talking about,
but it's just, there's so much. It's so overwhelming.
It's so overwhelming. And it feels, by the way, like one of the things that's so confusing is to like get on social media and be like, I want to post about this thing. I want to post about this cause and this thing that I think is devastating. I also want to shout out my friend who has a new TV show. And you get this like weird, like whiplash feeling where you're like, I just need to put it down.
My friend our friend Mackenzie.
Yes.
Did you talk to her the other at Emily's house?
It was so nice to see her.
Yeah, she's the best. And she doesn't, this is a friend of mine, guys, who does not work in entertainment, although her like longtime boyfriend partner does. But she does something totally outside of but she's very like attuned to people's stuff. And so I was talking to her a little bit at Emily Beebe's house. We were like both over at BFF Emily Beebe's. And Mackenzie, I was talking to her about South by Southwest and like just how I was like, well, so I did, this Planned Parenthood thing. And then I went to the clinic, the whole women's health clinic. And then I did that full day of press for Girls 5 Eva. Did I already talk about this? On the podcast?
I think
what
some
Mackenzie,
of it,
but what Mackenzie said?
Not what Mackenzie said, I don't think.
I can't. I mean, I don't feel like I've even said this out loud to anyone. Maybe Mark. Maybe I told Mark. But she was kind of the first person who like, she just put it so well to me. She was like, God, that must be really weird for you to have to like dip in and out of these things. Like your show that you're so proud of, but then also you're there and like talking to this mom with a trans kid, and then you have to like be a business person with the people that you're in business with, and like whatever. She just recognized the complexity of like what that thing is. I'm sorry if I already said this. I don't know.
No, you didn't.
Because that is like what we're all being faced with all the time, And so she was like, I have to do it like in a public facing way.
Yes.
That's what performers, whether they're like literally, I mean, anyone who has like a public facing persona is, whether it's a politician, like the fact that like politicians are having to like comment on the slap.
Right.
Is like, to me, I'm like, guys, what is happening? It's like everybody has to have a take on everything.
Yes.
But not just that, you're like constantly being asked to like dip in and out of these different things that have varying levels of importance and varying levels of import to you personally, and varying levels of like, you've given varying levels of thought to them. And sometimes it's just total bullshit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it can be a real mind fuck right now.
Yes.
But like specifically, like now more than ever before, because it's like the confluence of like the scrutiny of celebrity culture, public facing people, plus social media, plus immediate access, vis-a-vis phones, internet.
Right. People writing
whatever.
books, writing tell-alls, memoirs about themselves. Because that's another thing about celebrity culture all the time. People are always like, well, so-and-so deserves such and such because they put their business out there. And I'm like, putting themselves out there is their business. That's what the business requires. And so, but again, I think a lot of this can get to be a lot. And like, I'm not excusing anything anyone's ever done. I'm not. I'm just saying. And like I've said so many times, I've said this exactly about young mothers. I know specifically what I said it about. One time I saw a young mother accidentally have a brain fart, leave her kid in a stroller on a train platform to go back into the train and get her phone that she left behind. And I stayed with the baby on the train platform and I was like, hey, you can't forget your baby on the train platform. And she started crying and I felt so terrible. And I was saying like, I hope I would never do that myself. But obviously I can 100% understand how that would happen. 100%. Just like when people say, like moms are like, I just lost it one day and like just, you know, left my house and didn't come back for like 8 hours or whatever. And I didn't tell anyone where I was. Like I've heard people say that. I've heard all of these things. Like it's not excusing anything anytime, but I just can see how things happen. And so it's just in a weird place where you feel like you are answerable to people. And you're like, well, where's the line on that? Like, who am I answerable to, but besides myself?
Well, I mean, I know who I'm answerable to, like in my personal life, like,
yeah,
you know, and also, but I guess, I don't know. I guess I'm just having some issues with the fact that like we have been changed,
yeah,
as a society, as a culture, like as a human, as a world, like we have all been changed,
yeah,
and the sort of like basic human nature of just like going back to trying to make it as it was,
yeah,
is not working for lots of people. And
Yeah.
I am one of them.
Yeah.
I know it's not working for lots of people, but I definitely know it's not working for me.
yeah.
I know that I feel like totally incredulous a lot of the time right now by like conversations and like even just Mark and Abby had this meeting that kept getting moved. We were supposed to go back. The kids' spring break is over, guys. In this meeting that like it just kept getting rescheduled, whatever, and it got rescheduled to this week now.
Yeah.
Okay. So my kids are supposed to be back at school today. And Mark was like, well, you should go back with the kids and like fly back with the kids and you'll get them in school and like blah, 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 blah,
Right.
blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, except who fucking cares and no. I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm not doing that.
Right.
Like, and I just think like 3 years ago, certainly that's what would have happened.
Right.
Not that I would have lived in New York, but whatever. If we were, you know what I mean? Situation,
Yeah.
whatever the equivalent would have been.
Yeah, you would have
I
been
would
like,
have been
I
like,
have to do
of course,
this.
I have to do this.
The
I have
calendar
to fly back with
says
these kids.
that-
Have to go to school. They've got to wake up. Blah, blah, blah. And I literally was like, I don't know. I'm not going to do like change all the tickets. Like I don't want to, first of all, don't want to take kids who've been on the West Coast for 2 weeks alone back to the East Coast, try to wake them up by myself for school.
Right.
Like,
Right.
absolutely not. Also, the weather was like 30 degrees there. I'm like, no, it's not happening. Like, Gina's happy in her, at the house she's staying at in upstate New York, her camp that she goes to, dog camp. Like, I don't know. Like, and he was like, well, the kids have to go to school. I was like, do they? Do they? Why? Who fucking cares? This could all be over tomorrow. Who cares?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I'm like, maybe I'm like, and it's not that I don't want to be productive. I'm like, I have all these other things I want to talk to you about.
Yeah.
About that I've been thinking about, like business wise. And I'm feeling actually like I do want to like do stuff and be creative and put stuff in the world and like go back to like what our original sort of mission statement was together as partners. But that being said, like there are some other things that I just feel like are a big fucking, who cares? People have been spinning their wheels for so long about certain things. And like, I think that the pandemic is just like, to me at least, made me sort of like reevaluate like the things that actually are important.
Yeah.
And not allowing others to tell me the things that are important.
Well, I mean, that's been the case for so many people, right? In their jobs, being like, oh, but I don't have to let you abuse me for very little money. I am just not going to do that.
Something that turns out millennials knew all along.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, it's a lot of things like that. I always had a unique perspective on school because, like, as we've discussed, and I don't think he minds us talking about it, like, my older son just was not built for school the way that it exists now. And so the options were homeschool him or find a special school, which we couldn't really afford, or just let him go to regular school and do the best he could. And so I had to like kiss goodbye my ideas of like how important, like certain things about school were important. Go there, be kind, and like don't be disruptive, and, you know, do the best you can. But like the traditional school experience for him was just a thing that like we just weren't living it, you know? And he's a really smart guy. He just wasn't built for school as it exists. And so my notions of like all of that stuff went out the window pretty early, of just being like, well, that's not how it is for us. And so I never had any problem being like, I'm going to take my kid out of school for this thing or that thing. Not a lot, again, not to be disruptive or whatever, but I can tell you now, like in hindsight, both of those kids remember a total of 7 days of school, of their school years, and they were the 7 days where I pulled them out to do something that wasn't school.
That was fun.
Made an impression on them. Yeah, you know.
I do remember, though, that I missed the day where we learned how to tell time on the clock.
Did I ever tell you about, I got skipped?
Which to this day I get nervous about.
I got skipped ahead in math at some point because I know I have told this before.
Well,
and
it's also like such a weird thing. Like they used to, remember when they used to like skip people ahead?
Yes.
And that they don't do that anymore?
They wanted to skip me a whole grade ahead. It was me and this other girl, Felicitas, what's her name? Hi, Fee, if you're listening. And they wanted to skip us both a year ahead. And Fee's parents were like, yes, absolutely. And my mom was like, oh, I think that'll be bad for her socially. I'd prefer that she not skip a whole year. So they were like, we're going to skip her ahead in these subjects. But I did miss like how to do fractions. And I did have to like humble myself to ask someone to explain fractions to me at one point because I fully missed that part when I was skipped. So that was the only thing that turned out bad for me in that case. But again, like, see, I never had like a really traditional experience of school, even though I went to public school, because I was like, by the time I graduated from high school, I was already done with my freshman year of college, pretty much. You know, you just got to do what works for you. I just think, yeah, we're all fucking fragile right now. But that being said, like, it'd be so nice. And I'm saying this for myself as much as anyone. We're fragile, but like also kind of explosive and angry too. And I'm not talking about Will Smith. I'm talking about like
everyone
and shit that I'm seeing like in stores, on the roads, driving.
That's what I'm saying, the airplanes.
Yeah. And so it's so weird that we're so fragile that we get like a little bruise and then like lash out at someone who's also probably just as fragile. And then it's like a bunch of angry grapes fighting each other. You know what I mean? Like,
we should all watch Inside Out again.
Yeah. There's
no, but like, listen, I feel like my Yes. I mean, we're all fragile right now. Yes. Yes. Everybody's like a little cracked. Like, I just am like, I feel like we haven't gone through the process yet where like they put the gold in the cracks and then make it something more beautiful. Whatever, like the pottery.
Yeah.
You know, like the Japanese pottery.
Yes.
Thing. But that's all I'm saying is like, I feel like we were missing a step. Like, like we're all cracked and no one has like, we haven't taken the time yet to like, to like fix the cracks with the gold.
Yeah.
All right, Rasa, why don't we drink some Rasa together right now?
That's very Liza.
I was inspired. I loved seeing her last night, even though it was hard too, but she looked great.
She looked great.
I thought great.
Wonderful.
Listen, and I feel like drinking my Rasa has given me the energy.
Yes.
Of a cabaret Liza. High kicks and all.
Yes. Rasa is so good. Rasa, in case you didn't know.
There you go.
Is an adaptogenic herbal coffee alternative that energizes with herbs and mushrooms instead of caffeine, which is so good for me in my life because I can really easily overdo it on the caffeine.
I mean, for sure, me too.
Yeah.
And I don't like being jittery ever.
No.
Not fun for anyone.
Who needs it?
No one. No one needs it. And Rasa was like, yeah, we get that. Also, adaptogens are just so much better and very cool and hip.
Yeah.
And they make you feel good.
Yeah.
And that's why. I like the Rasa Super Happy Sunshine Joy blend.
Yeah, I like that in the morning. And then I like the Dirty blend in the afternoon because Dirty has a little coffee in it.
Dirty does have a little bit of that coffee flavor in it. And I feel like, I don't know, it's just a better sort of thing, like a better sort of energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like a warm glow inside you. It's like how I feel when I buy a new expensive concealer. It's like me, but just a little better.
I like that a lot. Guys, if you're curious and you want to try Rasa like we tried Rasa and love it now, you can check it out. They even have a quiz so you can find the perfect blend for you. Right now, you'll get 20% off your first purchase. So go now to We Are Rasa. It's RASA. wearerasa.com/best and use our special promo code BEST20. Order now at wearerasa.com/best and enter promo code BEST20 to get 20% off. Higher dose. You know, I had to move out of our rental.
Yes.
And came over here to stay with a friend because we're staying a couple extra days. And guess what? Guess what Jenny has?
I can guess.
You know. You actually know. You know. I've told you.
She's the full complement of higher dose items.
She has all of the higher dose items in her possession. So it's like, I don't know why I haven't been over here every day.
Yeah.
And then she was like, I maybe regret telling you this. Guys, if you don't know, Higher Dose is a one-of-a-kind at-home spa experience at the intersection of wellness, health, and beauty. Higher Dose's line of infrared devices harness the most healing technologies available, from infrared's healing heat to PEMF's grounding technology to red light rejuvenating rays for your face. Okay, so first of all, Jenny has the infrared sauna blanket. So you just go in there, wrap yourself up, get hot and high.
Yeah.
It's so good, especially today, especially any day.
Yeah.
It's so good. Infrared therapy is my favorite, guys. You know this. It supports glowing skin, deeper sleep, a balanced mood. And as your core temp heats up, your brain releases a dose of happy chemicals, which I think we can all agree we all need a lot more of immediately.
I need multiple doses
a day.
Yeah.
Anyway, for those of you who want to experience the benefits of infrared without sweating, they have a really cool infrared PEMF mat that recharges your cells, helps you feel relaxed and grounded. It also combines the powerful technology of heated infrared with PEMF and 20 pounds of healing crystals.
I'm going to go lay on mine right now.
I love it so much. It's Gina's favorite thing. My mom has one too. We all want to look beautiful, and their new red light face mask stimulates collagen, activates glowing skin, reduces fine lines, and regenerates cells. Use it while you're in your sauna blanket. Everybody wins. Guys, get your own sauna blanket, your mat, and your red light mask today at higherdose.com. You can use promo code BEST at checkout to save 15%. That's higherdose.com, promo code BEST, or just go to higherdose.com/busy and you're going to save 15%. Woo! Trying to think if I should tell this story or not.
Well,
maybe I'll tell it to you.
Just tell it.
And then you can tell me what you think.
Okay.
So, because it's about emotional outbursts.
Oh, okay. I love them.
So,
stories about them.
So, this is about the Olivia Rodrigo premiere.
Oh, okay. All right.
So, I had gotten this email from my publicist, Olivia Rodrigo would like to invite you and Birdie to this thing. Do you want to go? And I was like, yeah, sure. And I mean, obviously, Birdie is obsessed with Olivia Rodrigo.
Right.
Also, I love that album. It's a real banger.
Yeah.
So Carly Welch was like, I know, I want you to dress in a black suit, real rock and roll, black tie. And then I realized, as soon as I was on my way there with Birdie, that I just was dressed like a chauffeur. And also it was kind of amazing because it's driving home to you. I was dressed like a chauffeur.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Conceptually, I was
and also the prom vibes
and the prom.
Olivia, yes,
sure,
yes.
All of it. I really felt like I was on board with the look and everything. Great, it's all good. Birdie was so amped, and they bought a new outfit to wear, and it was this cute little butterfly top thing that's tied little straps and white skirt. They just were definitely into the vibe. They were so excited. Hair and little tiny pigtails. And so we got there and went and did the red carpet together even. Birdie and I took some pictures together because they they wanted to. They were really into it. And then we go to the theater and we were pretty early because I was actually nervous about driving to Westwood.
Yeah.
Guys, if you're from LA it can be a lot. Traffic can be a lot.
Yeah, and Westwood's
far,
out there and
far,
not a place you go often.
Anyway, but it ended up that we were there. My chauffeuring skills were good, and we got there kind of early. And so normally at premieres, guys, Hollywood break. Normally at movie premieres, they don't let you sort of wait outside of the theater. You have to go in and they're please take your seat. They make you go sit in your seats, you know, as much. But I haven't been to a premiere since COVID. And they were letting people just kind of stay out front a little bit more. I think that makes sense. People should be able to not have to go sit in the theater longer or whatever. So Birdie was really amped to was outside with me before the movie, looking to see what celebrities, what teen celebs were there and who was coming. But Birdie was really looking to catch a glimpse of Olivia Rodrigo right before the movie. And then my friends Liz and Akiva and their two kids showed up and they're oh my God, right when we came in, she was getting out of her car and we snooped her. That's what the little one calls when you see someone that you want to see, a celebrity, but you're not saying anything to them. You're just snooping them.
Oh, okay.
Which is a great expression.
Great expression.
Yeah, I love it. I feel it should be a real thing.
Yes.
So I was oh my God, you guys got to snoop her? And she's yeah, we got to snoop her. And Birdie's oh, I want to snoop her. And I'm Birdie, it's going to be fine. You're going to see Olivia Rodrigo. I promise. This is her movie. It's going to happen. But you couldn't see where the red carpet was from the theater. It's all sort of sectioned off so that they can have the step and repeat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're waiting there. And it's getting kind of later and later and later. And I'm Bird, we really should go inside and sit down because they're going to want to start the movie relatively on time. So we were standing in the lobby of the theater, and Birdie was like, I just want to see her. I just want to see her. And I was like, okay. And then Liz and Akiva and their kids came like back and were chatting. And I was like, but guys, will you help me here? Because we've all been to lots of premieres. Like, you don't talk to the lead of the movie before the premiere. Like, the time when you like say hi or get a picture or whatever, snoop them even, is generally after you watch the movie, because like at the after party, that's what after parties are for.
Right.
You know, like so that they can feel all the adoration for the thing that they just did or whatever. And Akiva's like, oh, yeah. Your mom's right. I mean, your mom knows, like, I mean, she's been going to premieres since she was a kid. Like, you know, you wait till the after party to say hi to the people, whatever. And Birdie's like, yeah, I mean, I've been to some premieres before, but like, this is different. Like, I want to see her. And I was like, okay, well, I promise you we're going to see her. And then like one of the theater ushers came over and was like, you know what, we really are asking people to take our seats. We're going to start the movie. We take our seats. Birdie, we're sitting right in front of some adorable girl who was on a Nickelodeon show that Birdie loved. And the two of them had been like chit-chatting before outside.
Nice. Okay.
It was cute.
Yeah.
And Birdie was like totally excited and whatever. We watched the movie, which I did write in a caption on Instagram. It was like delightful. It's like a real teenage dream.
Yeah, you said you really liked it.
It's like a concert film kind of more than a documentary.
Yeah.
But I mean like a concert film in terms of they did a cool thing. Like she did with a live band like different versions of the songs from the album, but like in different places. Like one's like in a house and one's in a desert. One's at a truck stop, one's like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just cool. Like, I thought it was really, and it's really beautiful. And it did sort of just feel like being a teenager. I don't even know. They really like captured a thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Oh, good.
And she's insanely talented. That kid. So anyway, the movie's great. After it was over, we like ran to pee because obviously that's what you have to do. And then we like walk over to where the big party is. And even like this guy stopped us on the way and he's like, oh, Miss Phillips, like I'm so-and-so. I'm with Disney Events. Like we're so thrilled because it was a Disney Plus movie.
Yeah.
We're so thrilled that you guys are here. You guys got the gold wristbands, which means you can get into the super VIP section, like wink, wink. And I was like, Birdie, we're in, dude. We're going to get to meet Olivia Rodrigo. Yeah. So we go into the back. The gold wristbands, super VIP section. Yeah. Meanwhile, like no joke, at a certain point I heard, hey! And I turned around and Liz and Akiva held up their empty wrists with their kids and they're like, didn't get them. And I was like, see, like, we're back here. We're going to get to meet or whatever. So this executive woman who is like an executive woman. Yeah. Okay. Not for Disney. Like it just, she's like a career executive woman.
Sure.
I've like tested for her for years when I was a child. Like literally she's probably seen me auditioning since I was 18 years old. Yeah. A little bit later, like we have like a friend whose daughter was in class with her daughter. So like there were some birthday parties like many years ago that I feel like I've like known her a little bit socially, but not really. Yeah. And like Mark and Abby have worked with her before. And anyway, so she's all of a sudden like standing in front of me and Bird and she's like, how was your pandemic? And I was like, oh, wow, here we are back in this thing. Like, oh my God, I am forced to do this thing, which is so disconcerting to me. Yeah. You know, like making business small talk. Like I don't even fucking, who cares? Yeah. And I tried to like ask her kid, like I don't know. And the kid was like giving me nothing. And Birdie was like, I could see, the little energy. The energy was like vibrational. Yeah. And also, Birdie refused to bring a sweater in. And it was cold then because the temperature dropped and wouldn't wear my jacket. Right. Because it was itchy, sensory. I get it. Yeah. And so Birdie's like kind of just like a little firecracker. you
Yeah.
know? And so this woman's like talking to me on and on and on. And like, oh, and Mark and Abby still working together, even though you're in New York and da 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 da. And I was like, I don't know. Like, and I'm trying to sort of still scan the place, trying to figure out where
you're
Olivia is.
going.
Because I know
Yeah.
my only chance for leaving
Is to get that
is
picture.
to
Yeah.
meet Olivia Rodrigo
Yeah.
with Birdie and get the fuck out. Okay. Which is like my only goal at this moment.
Yeah.
And Birdie's like firecrackering next to me. And like at a certain point, Birdie's just like, mom, enough. Like about like talking
Yeah.
to this woman, which is fair in a way. You know, I was about to say like, Birdie and I are going to do a lap. You know what I mean?
Right.
Literally about to say Birdie and I are going to do a lap. And Birdie was like, you know, kind of like, Mom, we gotta go. And the executive goes, what are you waiting for Olivia Rod? I heard she's not even going to come to the party. My child screamed.
Oh no.
And immediately tears projecting out of their face in such a way, Caissie, you know.
Yeah.
And the woman, so startled, has never clearly seen anything like this.
Yeah.
Kind of like almost half laughs and is like, is this real? Is what she says. And I was like, yeah, this is fucking real.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Birdie, like, just breathe. We don't know anything. Like, she doesn't know anything. She just said a weird thing because no one knows how to be a fucking person anymore.
Right.
And this is a 13-year-old who's like expecting, and then Birdie's like, you ruin everything to me. You told me, you know how things are. You know when you're supposed to. I just wanted to see her. I just wanted to see her. You couldn't even like freaking the fuck out. And I've been in this situation before, admittedly, not in many, many years, like in public, like that, like on such a,
yeah.
And I was like, I get it. The fucking, like, that was not a chill thing. And there was nothing in that moment I could say to Birdie that would like take it away. Like, aside from like, here's Olivia Rodrigo. Like, I couldn't say that I knew for sure that she was coming to the party or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe I did fuck up. Maybe she like skipped it. Of course I didn't. Of course I didn't. But I'm just saying, like, and a little bit in that moment, and a little bit like, you know, like these little like waiters dressed as car hops, like coming up, like terrified looks on their faces, like, do you want some strawberry ice cream? I was like, it's not going to help, but thank you. I totally appreciate it. Thank you. No. And Birdie's like, I hate you. You always like, you mess everything up. Like, you know, the whole thing, right? At me.
Yeah.
Like just directing all of it at me, which is what a lot of times happens.
What they do. Yeah.
And at some point that lady, the executive during this was like, I'm going to go, you know what? I can go find out. I was like, great. So she took off with her kid.
Yeah.
Which was, I mean, honestly, great. Yeah. I said great like that, but I was like, yeah, okay, great. Like,
thanks.
Go find out. She took off with her kid. I'm trying to calm Birdie down. It's like not happening. It was pretty terrible. And then I don't even remember exactly the series of events, but the executive lady came back and was like, oh, great news. She is going to be here. I mean, it is great news. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then another like car hop waitress was like, who? Olivia Rodrigo? She's right behind you.
Oh.
And like 4.5 feet behind us was adorable Olivia Rodrigo standing with that girl who was sitting behind us before. And some other like late teens.
Right.
And the tears sucked back in so quickly.
Yeah.
And Birdie's face transformed so fast.
Yeah.
And then they like kind of like just walked over there and then was like, what am I doing? I can't like just interrupt, right?
Right.
And so then I followed Birdie. I don't remember if I said anything to that woman, the executive. I think I might have said, thanks so much. We're going to go do this now. Anyway, and then this girl was like, Busy, hi, it's Iris. And it was Iris Apatow, who I've literally known
since she was a baby.
Born.
Yeah.
Since she was born.
Yeah.
And she's like, is this Birdie? Oh my God, they're so big. Hi. And I was like, oh, Birdie, I don't know if you remember Iris. And Birdie's like, no. And I was like, Birdie's very excited to maybe meet Olivia. And Iris is like, oh, she's like my best friend. And like just like reached her hand like behind her, grabbed her best friend, like spun her around. And then Olivia was like, oh my God, you guys made it, to me and Birdie. And like hugged Birdie. And then I internally collapsed.
Yeah.
Like a fallen uterus.
Yeah.
And tried to talk to Iris.
Which I've seen. That's dramatic.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
And I tried to like just like make kind of weird small talk with my friend's kid.
Yeah.
For a minute.
Yeah.
I tried to take some pictures, but also felt like wildly embarrassed to be taking. I don't even know. I was like so confused by everything that was happening. And so overwhelmed by my own.
That's really...
It was a lot.
That's a lot.
And then as soon as like their interaction was over and they like chatted for a while and Birdie like told Olivia about how they made me and Merck drive them down to Orange County to Williams-Sonoma when Birdie was like 8, I think, or 7. And Olivia Rodrigo was the star of the American Girl doll movie where she like bakes in Paris or something. Oh. And that was Birdie's like, it was like her absolute favorite thing.
Yeah.
And so Olivia was doing like a cooking demonstration at Williams-Sonoma in support of the American Girl doll movie and whatever. Anyway, all I'm saying is that like we drove there.
Right.
I think Cricket was... Oh, poor Cricket. Was she with us? I don't know. I think she was. I think she was in a stroller.
A little carrier.
I think she was in a stroller.
Yeah.
And like we drove down there so that Birdie could meet her.
Wow.
And that was like, yeah, it's really cute. But they were like chit-chatting. It was like all good. And then as soon as I was like, well, you have a wonderful night. You're so great. Love the movie. Bye. And like grabbed Birdie. I was like, so we should go now. This is great. We should just get out of here. And Birdie was like flying high.
Yeah.
And we left and like, I was like, I know enough to not bring this up right now.
Right.
And we can talk about it the next day. And we did. Like we had like a chat about it. But it was, oh boy.
It's a lot. And like, I think that you have, and tell me to shut the fuck up if I'm overstepping, but I think you've mentioned stuff that's going on with Birdie enough on the podcast that people know that they struggle a little bit with, some emotional things.
It's, yeah. Well, but again,
like in a way that is not the way that every kid handles.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, no, Birdie has like definitely occasionally has had like outbursts that are like pretty, I can't remember what it's called. It's called something, I think. Birdie's very into labels because this generation is all about labels. Did you know that?
I mean,
that's what they say because of TikTok.
Yeah,
I mean like mental health labels, all kinds of labels.
Yeah. So they have like a diagnosis. Is it like
kind of? I don't know.
It's not oppositional defiant disorder.
No.
Is it?
No, it's actually not that. It's like they get really mad easily. I was like, guess what? I think I
The
have
get
it too.
mad easily syndrome.
No, we did like we had like the full neuropsych eval done.
Yeah.
You know, like we've done the whole thing. Like, but Birdie's in DBT therapy now, which has been really helpful.
Yeah.
Your son also did that.
Yeah.
And if you're listening and you're like, what is DBT therapy? It's not cognitive behavioral therapy, which is CBT. DBT focuses on skills in like trying to help adults and kids, teens, be able to like slow it all down.
Right.
And be able to hold the fact that like things suck sometimes and
Right.
feelings are real. But like you can also like move through them because nothing is permanent.
Right. Right.
Which we know.
And the reason I'm bringing this up, and it goes to like kind of everything that we've been talking about, because on the surface, if you haven't been paying close attention to what Busy's been saying and what Busy's been sharing, is that like on the surface, this could sound like, well, this kid is getting to do a really privileged thing where they meet a celebrity that they're a fan of and had to flip out in front of people. And it could sound a certain way, and you could, if you saw it or if you're just hearing about it, pass judgment on it. But what I'm saying is there's more to it than that. It's not that simple. It's not just a matter of, well, it goes to like the whole conversation that we've been having.
Like when we were on that airplane and Birdie had like the anxiety meltdown about the airplane, and that fucking lady thought it was a good idea to like text her like family, and I could read, or her friends, like a group thread, right?
Right.
I mean,
so it's one of those things. But also I just want to say that like I'm compassionate for any kid that's going through anything, because that can't feel good to feel like you're not in control of your reaction to the situation. But also I'm very compassionate toward you, because I know that you are the focus of a lot of the anger and the rage that comes up. And even if like you're the most loving mom, and even if you know that rationally it's not about you, I just have been in that. I've been there. I think all moms have been there at some point where you're, it's not about you. But like the last time we talked, and I was like, you're entitled to kindness. That's kind of like,
not that day.
Not that, but that's what I'm saying. Like it's hard to, like that takes a toll too. And I'm not saying, I'm just saying it exists, and it is what it is, and it is wounding, even though rationally.
Yeah. But I would say weirdly, for whatever reason, I mean, maybe it was that I had taken the week off. But like, and also like a friend of mine from Hoffman sent me this meditation thing. It's like a, I don't know if it's a podcast. I don't know. It was more like a talk. Oh my God, Busy. Come on. It was like a talk / meditation from some spiritual lady, whatever, called like learning to meet change with a wise heart or something like that.
Yeah.
I listened to it a couple times last week because I was having a really rough time last week. Like things were just not easy for me last week here. And that that talk, that podcast, whatever it's called, really helped me, like immensely helped me slow it down, like immensely helped me like do the thing, separate it out, like realize that like remember the truths of like Birdie as a child And it's the same thing as like, I think that we've talked about it before. Like when we would be in the park and Birdie was like just a gigantic, super verbal 1.5-year-old that people thought was 3.
Right.
And then would have like an outburst or whatever, like, because they're actually 1.5. And I would be like, oh God, everybody around me is expecting Birdie to act like a kid with more control of their...
Right.
But in a weird way, a couple things. Number one, I guess, again, this is like back to my point of the whole fucking thing. The fact that we're not all out here screaming all the time is like a goddamn miracle.
Right.
And throwing temper tantrums and fucking hitting. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're all in this, we're all afraid nerve.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not like, again, it's not like, I'm not even talking about the fact that like some people are more afraid than others. And some people have obviously more cause to be afraid than others.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
And like trauma plays a part in it too. And like Birdie was traumatized several years ago that triggered a lot of stuff. But even before then, like they've had, you know, they've had a go of it.
Yeah.
You know,
a number of challenges.
A number of challenges, but like also in that moment at that thing, I do think it was helpful that I hadn't even had a glass of wine or because I was a chauffeur, obviously. I wasn't gonna,
you couldn't.
And I had listened to that meeting change with a wise heart talk a couple times last week.
Yeah.
That I just was like very zen about it.
Yeah.
In the moment. And I just was like, I know, like there's nothing I can do. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that it feels this way. I'm so fucking sorry. I wish it felt better.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. I think that lady's wrong, but I know that must have been really upsetting to you because you were expecting something and I had like really told you.
Right.
And I didn't feel like there was no part of me that took it personally in the way that like I have before where I've like crumpled, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't feel like even when I also because I knew I was right.
Right.
Like, and I knew that lady was like, just, I don't even know why she fucking said that.
Who knows? Well, that's the
mitigating
thing,
her
like,
own kids' expectations.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows? And like, that's the thing about all of this is like, we don't know shit about each other. We just don't. We don't know why people say the things they do or do the things we do. But by the same token, like when maybe we're doing something where someone's like, why are you doing that? I don't understand.
Wait, I'm 100% doing things constantly all day long that other people are like, why is she doing that?
I mean,
I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, I told you the first time that I ever went and hung out with people like post-pandemic, I woke up with a sore throat the next day because I had talked so much. I hadn't let another person say a word. And I had to text all these strangers and be like, I'm so sorry. But but I just want to say, like, having been the mom that had a kid having like an issue in public, like I know what that feels like. And I know what it feels like to just feel like you can't do anything and know that like people are looking at you and judging you. And it's like, you just don't know what is going on with that kid. And it could be any number of things. And it's just like, it's also none of your business. And it's just a kid. And here's one point that I do want to make. And this goes back to our friend Julia Duffy, who talked to us and shared really generously about losing her son. Trigger warning, losing her son. He died by suicide. Is that she told us that he had certain problems his entire life. And that so many times she felt like people were thinking, or they flat out said, like, this is something that could be corrected if you improved your parenting.
Right.
And she said, I have another daughter that I raised exactly the same way. And so when she said that, that made so much sense to me. And then I thought about my own kids and how different they are and how one issue that one kid had, the other kid never had, and vice versa. Like they both had challenges.
I had this conversation with a friend of mine too, because her sibling, like, it's like one of those situations where like my friend had kids first and then their sibling didn't have kids until much later.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And one of the kids is like, clearly like they're little still, but like is having some things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my friend was like being kind of like, I get it, because it's like your sister and you're whatever. People get judgy about their family.
Yeah.
But I was like, I just want to say this. Like, I had a child who everybody was like, you just need to try harder to sleep train that child. Like,
Right.
Birdie did not sleep through the night, period, end of fucking story,
Yeah.
until they were 10 and a half years old.
Right.
And there was no amount of letting Birdie cry it out.
Right.
You don't understand unless you do. And then if
Right.
you do, come sit by me because we can chat about it.
Right.
But like, there's no version of sleep training certain children when they have whatever it is that they have. Like when I don't fucking
Right.
know. The chemistry is different. Birdie is like willfulness, even as a like baby was such that idea of like letting them just cry it out, like, oh, I know, but the first night, and like parents would be like, no, I know the first night's really terrible. And I was like, no, you don't know. This child will cry for the next 24 hours. Like they won't ever stop. Like it's just, and at a certain point you have to like take into consideration as a parent, like, what is it worth to you? Like, and what is it that your kid needs?
Right.
And maybe it doesn't look like what everybody else's thing looks like, because people are inherent. Like we always talk about the fucking we're snowflakes.
Right.
No, but like every snowflake is different, right?
Yeah.
Like we are people are different in many ways. And so it's not like parenting isn't a one size. Nothing in life is a one size fits all. But especially parenting.
And I think also in this culture, again, like social media particularly, and I think it's out of love and out of help and wanting to be helpful. But so many people are like, oh, the cure to your problem is this. The cure to your problem is this. Oh, this kid just needs more of this vitamin, this mineral, this exercise, this whatever. But that's not really how it works. Like a lot of these issues that all of us are facing, like there isn't just one cool trick, like those scammy internet ads at the bottom of the page, like one cool trick to whiten your teeth. There isn't one cool trick. Generally, it takes a lot of trying things and, trying things for a long time and trying combinations of things. Most of these things can only at best be managed. Like there really isn't a switch that flips. Most of the things that any of us are going through, like there isn't, like therapy isn't a cure, it's a management for
correct.
things that we're going, so a lot of times people are so quick to be like, oh, are they getting enough protein? Are they getting enough sunshine? Are they getting enough?
I know. I'm like, guys.
Yeah. And it's like, you have all the resources in the world. You've been to everyone in the world.
Yes.
It's like, it's like how I feel about Oprah and her weight. Like one of us is going to fucking tweet at Oprah what will finally be the thing that like Oprah could like hire someone to literally follow her around and write down everything she ever ate and anything you could imagine Oprah could afford to try and probably has. Mm-hmm. And so the fact of the matter is that there is no quick fix for any of these things. Oprah just has to manage her life the way that it is the best for her. And you have to manage your kid's life the way that it is the best for you. But also like it kind of goes back full circle to everything that we've been talking about. Like you just don't know what someone else is going through. You just can't know. And also if someone is generous enough to tell you, or if someone is generous enough to tell you their perspective based on their lived experience, you have to believe them.
Oh my God.
You just have
and
to.
you have to not be able to, like, you have to be able to believe them without seeing it with your eyes.
Right.
That's the thing that, like, I feel like a lot of people miss that step.
Yeah.
They really don't believe something until they see it. Even if it's like, even if they're like, oh, yeah, no, I get it. But then they really don't get it until they see it.
Yeah. Well, we've both been guilty of that, I'm sure, too. You know,
Well,
it's just a thing
yes.
that
We know I'm a visual learner.
Yeah. And but also sometimes, like, I think everyone has been like, oh, I'm not too sure about that, you know, but then you mature and you realize, like, well, what are you getting out of doubting someone? It's not like, I'm not talking about like someone that's accused of a crime and is like entitled to due process.
That's not what we're talking about.
I'm just talking about if someone says that they have like a sensitivity to a food, or they have a mental health condition, or they have,
or their kid, like, can't be sleep trained.
Exactly.
Doesn't sleep through the night.
Like, what, I'm not sure what you get out of it by doubting it or challenging it or whatever. Like, I'm not sure what that does for you as a person.
Well, maybe it's because people like to be experts.
Maybe. And that's why people probably, I think people want to fix things. And I think sometimes when you tell someone it's not fixable in the way that you're trying to fix it, you know, but it's like the thing that we talk about all the time with our partners too. Like sometimes when you're saying like, this is a thing that I'm upset about or whatever, and then like your partner or your friend like tries to fix it, and you're like, I don't want you to fix it. I just want you to listen to me. You know, I don't want you to like offer solutions of what I could be doing better. I just want to know that you're hearing me. And so like maybe
may I just suggest again, guys, back to my Hoffman, may I offer something, or do you just want like love and support?
Yeah.
You know, may I offer a suggestion, or can I just be here for you and listen? Sometimes like, it's like, that's like a training thing for yourself.
Yes.
Because also like, even when you just put it like that, then you're like, oh, I don't need to say anything.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you already know the answer.
Yeah. It's been something that I've really appreciated, because there have been times when I've been so overwhelmed when people have been, and so I can't even imagine how other people feel, because like, you know, I don't have this ginormous platform or whatever, but even I get overwhelmed when people are coming at me, like asking a lot of questions about stuff that, I don't know, it takes time. It takes thoughtfulness, and it takes time, and it takes labor and emotional labor to like answer whatever. But I love when people are like, do you have a minute for a question? Or like, when you have a minute. I think that's like so great. And it doesn't, you know, and then it makes me a million times like just more relaxed and open to whatever.
Right.
But also like, I noticed that people who do that also tend to say like, are you asking for advice, or do you just want to vent? Either way, like I'm good for that. You know, like I think that's good to know like what the person is hoping for. And also I think the person I know in this world that is the best at that is John Hodgman. He's just so great at interpersonal communication in a way that like he's ultra smart, but he's so great at interpersonal communication. He never has to ask a question when you have a minute, because he's that smart. And I think he just doesn't have many questions because he knows so many things. But he's also really great at not assuming that you know something, but also saying like, I don't even know the exact, I'm going to get him to write down the exact words that he's so great at not assuming that you know something. And so he'll explain it while also making sure that, you know, you can, tell him to skip that part because you already know that, and that it'll be like all smooth and no hard feelings and no ego. And it's like, it's almost like magic what he does and the way that he talks to people. And, but he's the best at interpersonal communication, and I learn a lot from him. But I have tons of like girlfriends who are really great at like, do you have a minute for me to ask you a question, and let me know when you have a minute. And what do you need from me here? Do you need advice? Do you want to know what I think? Or do you just want me to like listen?
It's always like, well, it's a thing that we always continue to work on, all of us.
Yeah.
And we can continue to work on. Anyway, wait, I have to pee really bad. I'm going to go pee. So I drank all that water and coffee before, and I had that gross soup.
Yeah.
That soup was so gross.
I'm sorry to hear you.
I know, I'm bummed out about it.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It's okay. Guys, we're here to talk about Vizzy Hard Seltzer. That's right. Made with the antioxidant vitamin C from what? The acerola cherry, guys. Big vibe.
Never going to get sick of the acerola cherry.
You know I love it.
So full of vitamin C.
You know I love it. Vizzy also just launched the first nationwide mimosa hard seltzer, which is very thrilling to me because I love a mimosa. And I like that they've taken the classic OJ and champagne and then kicked it up to a new level by creating a hard seltzer inspired by that classic cocktail. Vizzy Mimosa Hard Seltzer, made with real OJ. 4 different delicious flavors: strawberry orange, pineapple orange, peach orange, pomegranate orange.
I need the pineapple orange.
Oh, I want the pomegranate orange. That's my favorite. Guys, Vizzy also has lemonade hard seltzer as well as watermelon hard seltzer. The weather is turning. Spring is sprung. It is time to get your Vizzy on. Each variety pack offers 4 delicious fruit flavors, the same antioxidant you know and love her, vitamin C. She's coming to the party. You've heard us talk about Vizzy Hard Seltzer. We love it. It's a vibe. Get on board. Vizzy Hard Seltzer passes the vibe check.
It's vibe season.
It's vibe. Vizzy vibe. To find out where you can purchase Vizzy, go to VizzyHardSeltzer.com/busy. That's VizzyHardSeltzer.com/busy. And to get updates on their latest flavor drops and more, sign up for their emails at VizzyHardSeltzer.com/subscribe. That's VizzyHardSeltzer.com/subscribe. Guys, you've got to be 21 and older to drink.
Obviously.
Okay, Cupid. I don't know. Listen, here's the thing that I feel like all my single friends will understand, which is that like dating's hard. And occasionally you could be like chatting with someone, having a nice time, and then they drop like a real deal breaker. And you're like, why did I just waste all of those hours that I'm never going to get back? Life's too short.
Yeah.
To find out that you hate dogs. You know what I mean?
Something equally disappointing to you personally. But guys, we have great news.
Great news.
We have the answer.
It's OkCupid. It's the dating app OkCupid. Because with OkCupid, you may never be in that situation again. OkCupid finds people you're most compatible with. Here's how it works. The OkCupid app learns what's important to you by asking you questions. Then the app's one-of-a-kind algorithm pairs you with people that care about what you care about, like reproductive justice or not watching the Academy Awards next year. In fact, did you know that OkCupid is the only dating app in the world that lets you filter out singles that don't care about the issue you care about?
That's so useful.
It's very useful. Like if somebody's like, I don't give a fuck about climate change. Bye.
Boom. Done.
We don't have any room for this.
Right.
Here.
Yeah.
In here. You know? Guys, I want you to find your person. It's time to find your person. Download the dating app OkCupid today.
And let us know how it goes. Keep us posted.
I want to know. Anyway, kind of thematic this week.
Yeah. I mean,
sort of.
If the lesson is like just listening and considering perspectives that might be different from yours.
Guys, it's so much.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's also like truly though, there's so much happening, so much going on.
Well, here's the thing that you say, Busy, all the time is like more than one thing can be true at once.
For sure.
You know,
Yes.
and I think we're living in a time where obviously more than one thing is true at once. Also, some things definitely aren't true. We're just feeling like they're true because of whatever. And so it's important. It's important to slow it down. Like you were saying, slow it down, think it through, hear other people, and like, you know, I don't know, just be gentle with yourself because you know you need it, but also assume that other people need some gentleness too.
I mean, yeah.
And just knowing that it's weird AF out there.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Energetically
Yeah.
and more.
Yeah. Do you think this is about Saturn return? Wait, was that what it was? When everyone was like, we're going to go through a weird time.
Yeah, but I think things seem like I don't know why. I feel like I do think like two words keep returning to me, which is ease and slow.
Yeah.
Like, I think that easy, like we need to focus on being easy on ourselves, on others in a way.
Yeah.
Gentle, slow. Like, slow it down, take a beat. Don't be, not be so reactive. Again, guys, I'm not talking about Will Smith.
No, just in
I'm just
general.
saying for myself and like, because I do think we are like all of us frayed.
Yeah.
And even when somebody is like in public, like acting like a lunatic towards you at the supermarket or whatever, everybody has a choice. Everyone has a choice in every moment of every fucking day.
Yeah.
You know, I was a real dick to Mark the other day. And then I like left the vicinity and I took some breaths and I said, I'm really sorry. That was uncalled for. I will continue to attempt to be better. And I hope that you continue to be as generous as you've always been with allowing me that space to like try to be better and not so quick to return to patterns when I feel like a bear on a wire, you know?
Yes. Yes. I mean, that's all we can ask of ourselves and the people in our lives. Yeah, I think slow and easy and gentle and like full circle, as we were talking about, I think that's why the Oscars is such a weird thing to begin with, right? Because the comedy that we love is usually about the comedian, right? That's like someone's examining themselves and being like, here's something that's true about me. Isn't that weird? Don't you relate to that? Like those are all the comedians that we're loving, you know? And then you have like a John Oliver who's commenting on like, isn't this absurd? Like this thing that we all have to live through and that our government or some other government is putting some other people through and everyone can, but the Oscars is not like that.
No.
It's like nobody's there to see like Wanda Sykes or Amy Schumer or Regina Hall get personal and relatable about themselves. They're just making like easier jokes about these pop culture moments,
Sure.
which tend to be swipes, you know, because that's what you do. Because like movies don't have a deeply personal relatability to any of us. And so these
Movie stars, you mean?
well, just movies, like the
Oh.
subject matter of movies. And then, yes, and then movie stars, like they're like, we're just going to take like quick pokes. And they're sometimes that can be kind of funny in a way, but sometimes it can be obviously kind of not funny. And so this is what happens every year with the Oscars. Every year, people are like, it wasn't that funny to me. And I think it's because it's like not like the comedy can't really go anywhere to like a place where it is.
It's like because it's roasts.
It's
They
roasts.
turn the Oscars has like always become like a weird, lightly roasting.
Yes. And you
thing.
have to be really talented and really, you have to really prepare probably much longer than anyone ever does for any of these things to like roast someone in a way that's effective and satisfying for most people. I think nobody does it better than Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. Like
Yeah. Well, don't talk to Taylor Swift or my child about that.
oh yeah,
Because
true.
Birdie, did I tell you? Oh my God, Tina will kill me. Birdie literally like confronted Tina about it at my house.
Oh no. Oh my gosh.
Birdie will stick up for, someone they love. Well, that's what I will say about the bird.
That's a hallmark of all Taylor fans, I think.
Yeah, but Birdie is very specific about like just if they feel like someone that they love has been wronged in some way. Remember the letter to E?
Yes, I do. I sure do. I sure
posted
do.
that the other day.
But okay, so even like Tina and Amy, who are great at it, like they're not gonna go like 100 for 100 on that kind of thing in people's esteem. But what I'm saying is like it really is like in entertainment, it's the most thankless job because I think it is just basically like roast based. And then you gotta, when you're doing a roast based thing, in 2022, it's just, it had like a weird, chaotic energy, as you said, that other people noted. And like something went wrong.
I actually, that was a thing that like was really, and I think it's interesting because like now I'm just gonna talk about myself, not about Jada's experience as like sitting there having to be the one being jabbed at for no fucking reason. But Jada, to me, has characteristics that I think a lot of people think I have, which is like I could see people thinking like Jada's strong, she's a powerful woman, a platform, a voice.
She
speaks her mind.
lot.
She shares a lot about her experiences. She's tough.
Yeah.
She's tough. And people, I know, I'm saying all of these things that I know people have said to me about me before, and I certainly am all of those things as well. Like I acknowledge it. I see it. I get it. I am. And I also am like a little blob of goo. And at Hoffman, when I was so afraid anyway, because you're doing all this work, right? And we had that one day. I think I talked about this day, earlier last year when I had come back from Hoffman. And the day where these exercises, like basically at the end of the day, like they were doing these like, we were supposed to do these kind of like skits where other people play the other people there.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the day I fucking lost it. And I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it because I know what they're going to do. And I don't want to fucking sit here and be subjected to it again because everybody thinks I can fucking take it. And I can't fucking take it. Can't take your fucking Valley Girl impression of me. I like won't do it. You don't have any fucking right. Like I like got really explosively upset and angry and was like, it's not fun to me. It's not funny to me. I fucking hate it. And we worked through it like in that setting, and it was ultimately like probably one of the best of the breakthroughs there that I had that day, that night. Because it like got into a whole other part of, what a thing that I struggle with. But I feel like I just feel like I saw the look on Jada's face.
Yeah.
And I just knew it. Like, I just know what that, and I don't know it because for a myriad of reasons.
Yeah.
But I know it as a woman who's like perceived one way and who's in the public space. And so people think you're like fair game or whatever. Yeah. But not only that, they think you're a great target because you can take it.
Right.
And I just like in that flash of like her face, and she like looked at her husband who was laughing because he was like on camera and a performer.
And I think he was laughing at what had just happened
said
before.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not like analyzing the shit out of it, but like all I'm saying is like, she looks over and I saw that look on her face for like a split second, and I just recognized it so deeply. Like, I don't have any answers. I'm just saying like, it's hard to be a person. How should a person be? I don't even know.
Yeah. And you're talking about like a place that you were going specifically to like work on something, not even like a celebration.
Where my husband's going to win an Academy Award for a movie that I'm sure she's super proud of him.
Yeah.
And, this has been a long time coming. He's never won an Academy Award, right?
No, I think
he's been nominated a few times.
Yeah.
He's never won. And like, as you said, not, only a handful of Black men have ever won Best Actor.
Right. Yeah. So
it's a big night.
It was a big night.
And a lot of expectation and a lot of eyeballs. And like,
it just, yeah. And, everybody loves to talk about what they would have done and how it could have been handled better. And it's like, well, anything could ever have been handled better. You know what I mean? But that's like when people are like, oh, here's what I would have done if, someone ever hijacked a plane I was on. And I'm like, okay. Like, I mean,
well, sorry, any conversation that anyone ever has been a part of, like what they would have done in Nazi Germany, like,
right.
Sorry, guys, you've all failed.
Yeah. We can kiss it goodbye. Yeah. Just like, or like even when, well, not to like side with Pat Sajak, but when people are like, oh, that person on that game show couldn't even solve that puzzle. And I'm like, yeah, because it's a different thing to be on the game show than like sitting home with your hand down your sweatpants. I see what you're saying. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's different, people like, it's like, well, taking a test. How many times have you studied for a test that you knew absolutely what you were going to do on that test? And then in the moment, something else happened. But, yeah, I mean, I think that, that we are all going to learn a ton about ourselves and a ton about celebrities and all of these things. And people are going to say a bunch of hypocritical shit, and people are going to probably argue about this for the next few days. And then who knows what's going to happen. But
do you want to hear something weird? I just like pulled up because when you asked about the Saturn returns thing or whatever.
Yeah.
I went to Rob Bresney's Free Will Astrology, which I love.
Yeah.
But week of March 24th, 2022, he wrote, everyone is my teacher. Everywhere I go, I am a student. Every person I meet is in some way my superior. I vow to shut up and listen on a frequent and regular basis. And on that note,
guys,
Caissie and I love you.
We love you. We're going to shut up.
We're going to shut the fuck up now.
And I just want to shout out one special listener because he writes a very thoughtful email every week with his thoughts about what we talked about and shares his memory. But the reason I want to shout him out is because, Busy, when you were saying, did I tell this story on the podcast before? Which I usually say all the time. I can't remember if I told this story on the podcast before. Our friend Herman emails every week and he confirms or denies whether
That's hilarious.
we have told the story on the podcast before.
Herman, thank you.
Herman's basically the historian of the podcast. And,
I love that.
And he writes a really thoughtful letter. So I just wanted to shout him out because I know he's going to email and he's going to say, Busy, you did not tell that on the podcast before.
Or he may say the opposite. We don't know. We don't know. But shout out to Herman. Shout out to all of you.
We love you so much. So many of you are doing so many cool and excellent things. Everybody reached out to us about the phone banking they're doing in their states and just all kinds of cool things. And also everybody who's worked together to send that fireplace to me.
Has it come yet?
They decided to ship it because they like crunched the numbers and were like, there's a risk that it won't fit in someone's vehicle to do fireplace across America. And so they decided that it would be easier to ship it. And so it's just been shipped, I believe. But they did ask me to name the fireplace and I named it Carol Burnett.
Great.
Because it's orange and burn. And yeah, and that's it. And it's on its way. And I have never been so overwhelmed by so much kindness from so many people. So thank you, Leah, and everyone that
always been about the kindness of strangers. I don't remember what that is. I mean, I know what it is. It's from Gone with the Wind, right?
I think so.
Yeah. But also, guys, let's not, you know what I mean? We're not.
Wait, is it Gone with the Wind or Streetcar?
I have always been.
I have always depended on the kind.
I have always depended on the kindness. I don't know. We have to Google it now.
I don't know. But those are two movies that I've never seen the whole of either of them and confuse them frequently.
I have seen Gone with the Wind.
Okay.
And you know, I did a 7th grade book report on The Wind Done Gone, which was, do you know what that was? It was like a historical fiction book, like basically that this like Black author wrote that was like from the perspective of an enslaved person at the Terra.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it is Gone with the Wind. Wait, I have always depended. No, Streetcar.
It was Streetcar?
Yeah,
I've always depended.
You're right.
I confused Streetcar, International Velvet, and Gone with the Wind. It's all one movie to me.
Wait, Streetcar, what's the other one?
Streetcar, Gone with the Wind, and International Velvet, the like Elizabeth Taylor rides a horse movie.
Okay,
like,
same.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
All one film to me.
Yes, I totally agree with you. Wait, first of all, can I just tell you this? Okay, so Alice Randall is the woman that wrote The Wind Done Gone, because I just looked it up. She's written 6 novels.
Okay.
The Wind Done Gone was her first. But anyway, she's also the first African-American woman to co-write a #1 country hit. The single X's and O's, An American Girl, was released in 1994 by Trisha Yearwood. Oh. She's a music writer. Over 20 of her songs have been recorded, including several top 10 and top 40. Her songs have been performed by Trisha Yearwood and Mark O'Connor. I don't know who that is.
Okay.
But anyway, wait, now I'm confused. Now it says that it came out in 2001. I don't understand this. I'm telling you it came out when I was in 7th grade. Did I make this up? Did I just make up an entire story in my head?
What if you're like, I did a book report on it in 7th grade and you actually did a book report on it in 2001 when you weren't even in school?
You guys, what's happening? I'm not kidding. This is weird. What the fuck? Maybe I've lost it. Maybe I have lost it. I lost the thread because I guess I didn't do a book report in 2000. And now I'm confused as to why I thought I did, unless it was like in college. But was I even in college still? No, I was on Dawson's. I was on Dawson's Creek in 2001.
That's so
This
weird.
doesn't make sense to me. This is like one of those things.
This is like Kazam or whatever.
What is it called? No, what is it called?
The Mandela effect? No, that's
A Mandala effect.
Mandala effect?
Yeah, the Mandala effect.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding you. This is a Mandala effect. This is really fucking weird. I don't know how to explain to you how fucking weird this is.
Either you did a book report in 7th grade on another book.
No, I'm telling you, it was on this book. Because my mother was like, because the whole thing was like, I have to talk to my mom about this. This is really, really fucking weird. Wait, I'm not kidding you. I like think that something has gone horribly wrong in this.
Oh no.
In this
simulation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really having like a breakdown in my brain. I'm not even kidding you.
I don't mean to laugh while you're having a breakdown.
This doesn't make any sense. We have to call Barbara Phillips.
Okay.
This does not make any sense. I definitely read this book.
Yeah. I'm guessing that you did a book report on something different in the 7th grade that somehow related to Gone with the Wind. And then when you read this book when it came out, you related it to that book that you read in the 7th grade. I don't know what the book is. That's just what I'm guessing. That's how I feel like our brains work.
Okay. I'm really confused.
That's all right.
I'm really... Well. Oh, wait a minute.
What?
I think we got it.
What happened?
Scarlet is a 1991 novel by Alexander Ripley, written as a sequel to Margaret Mitchell's 1936. Okay. I think I read Scarlet. I mean, I definitely read The Wind Done Gone when it came out. Okay.
Right.
Yes, this is it. Okay. Now thank God.
It's what I think
It's exactly
what I said.
it's literally exactly what you just said. But it's like,
when you were reading the 2001 book, you were like, oh, I wish I would have read this in
Correct.
7th grade instead of that.
correct. Wait. Yes, because it was like, wait, listen. Reviewing the novel for the New York Times in 1991, Janet Maslin said the book was, quote, a stunningly uneventful 823-page holding action. Another author said it was his impression that the Margaret Mitchell estate was, quote, thoroughly embarrassed by Scarlet. Scarlet, universally panned by critics.
Oh, no. See?
Okay, so that's what it was. That's what it was. Oh my God, that was really, though, for a minute I did think that I had like lost my mind. But yes, but then I did read The Wind Done Gone, which I thought was interesting and super like, but I was already like an adult.
Yeah. Well, but 2001 was a long time ago. It could have felt like 7th grade.
I mean, it basically does.
I'm just glad you solved it. Isn't that a relief?
Actually, yeah, it really, really is.
To know that like aliens didn't steal a chunk of your life.
I was pretty much certain that like, for about 3 minutes there, I thought it was over. Okay. Guys, now we're over. We don't even have to put that all in there, but you just cut it all out. But I really did think I was losing my fucking mind. I'm serious. Didn't we wrap? We kind of wrapped it up.
Well, let's just do it.
All right. Guys, we love you so much. If you ever find yourself doubting reality, just reach out to Caissie. she's going to tell you exactly what just happened, and then you'll find out a couple minutes later that's true. And thank God she's here. But we love you.
We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Be good. Bye.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best.
Oh no.